So in this segment, we're going to be talking about the government failing to produce an impact assessment on the UK's new trading arrangements with the EU. Impact assessments are what's done typically by the government to look at the impact of any new trade deals that are done. They've done one for the UK-Japan deal, which we'll be talking about towards the end of the video. So you know it's obvious to see why the government haven't done this. It's because they're hiding, because they know the scrutiny that's going to come with an impact assessment like this. So the UK is holding back on its plan for evaluating the economic impact of new trade deals which were prepared before Prime Minister Boris Johnson signed the post-Brexit agreement with the European Union. According to an internal email seen by Bloomberg, the Department for International Trade was ready to, in mid-December, to release a 20-page document, as seen by Bloomberg, committing the government to regular monitoring and evaluation reports of free trade agreements signed by the UK. So basically, the Department for International Trade was going to release impact assessments that show what the UK, the impact on the UK with regard to trade deals are. And so it makes sense, to look at the impact of the positives and negatives. If you look at the CETA deal with the EU and Canada, you can see that the deal had a massively adverse impact on Canadian cheese manufacturers because of the new imports of EU-made cheese. So these are the sorts of things which are covered within an impact assessment. So a person familiar with the matter said publication was delayed because ministers didn't want that level of analysis applied to the EU Accord. They didn't want that level of analysis. What does that tell you? They didn't want the scrutiny. Another person said work on assessing the deal was paused because timing clashed with the signing of the pact with the bloc. We do not comment on leaks. The Department for International Trade responded in a statement when asked by Bloomberg why the publication of the document was delayed. When it will now be published and whether the framework for scrutinising deals will apply to the UK EU agreement. Johnson and European Commission Ursula von der Leyen brought the tortured Brexit process to an end Christmas Eve, striking a deal, blah blah blah. Britain had said it won't publish an impact assessment of the pact despite having done a similar analysis for other major accords such as the newly signed agreement with Japan. Johnson himself said the EU deal doesn't go as far as the UK wanted in areas such as financial services. So why don't you release an impact assessment so everyone can see the impact it's going to have on financial services? But the reason why they're not going to do that is obvious. They want to avoid scrutiny. Ministers need to explain why this document was pulled from publication, said Bill Esterson, international trade spokesman for the main opposition Labour Party. I've never heard of this guy in my life. It's no surprise that the government is trying to avoid scrutiny in this area, but hiding the true impact of trade agreements does nothing to help British exporters. If anything, it's going to hinder British exporters because they don't know what specific things have changed. The economic implications of the EU deal are deeply sensitive to Johnson's government due to the pledges made after the 2016 Brexit referendum that Britain would prosper outside the bloc. The weeks since the new trading relationship took effect on January 1st have been marked by reduced freight volumes, higher costs and delays to shipments. These are things that they promised would not happen. I remember one Brexiteer, I can't remember his name, was like, absolutely nobody is threatening our place in the single market. Well, we're out the single market, buddy, where are you? Absolute clown. In November, the UK spending watchdog said a free trade deal with the EU would leave Britain's gross domestic product 4% lower over the long run. So this is a 4% hit to GDP. This is huge compared with staying in the bloc. That analysis from the Office of Budget Responsibility, the OBR, dates from before the actual deal was agreed. So obviously it's not going to be as bad as 4%, but it will be bad. In its free trade agreements monitoring and evaluation framework document, the UK's Trade Department sets out plans for biennial, don't know what that means, monitoring reports to assess trade flows following the new trade deals. It also details plans for evaluating reports after 5 years to robustly assess an FTA's impact, including what effect it has for whom and why. But surely you would release it before 5 years. You would release it, you would do an analysis before you sign a deal to make sure you know what the exact impacts are going to be, rather than doing it like this. I don't know. This is painful. This is painful because the UK has refused to do an impact assessment. I think the EU have done an impact assessment, But the reason why the UK haven't done one is to avoid scrutiny, and this is something the Labour Party need to talk about more. Why won't you talk about the impact on your great oven-ready Brexit deal? Blah blah blah. Is it because you know you're fraudulent and you lied to so many people about what the outcomes of your Brexit deal would be, to the point where hardly anyone got a good deal out of this? I don't know many people that benefited from this deal. So it's no surprise that the government have taken this route, to be honest, of not publishing things, or sorry, not having things written or analysed, because that way it won't get out through leaks. That's the only reason they've done this. They've done this again to avoid scrutiny, because they know that it's better to hide bad information, to bury it, rather than publish something and try and defend it. That's what this government's probably figured out by the pandemic, and it's something the Conservative Party have known for a while. Even the New Labour knew this for a while. You bury bad news, you don't let it get out, and so it's not a big surprise, to be honest, that this has happened. But what this does tell you is that all of that, we're going to take control back of our laws, borders, and money, and all that stuff. It was all lies, because if you truly wanted to take back control, you would look at the implications of things like this, and then you would look at how to mitigate them. You would take control of the situation, but instead you're hiding and avoiding scrutiny because you're fraudulent. Liz Truss, you're a fraud, and you're getting just rollover deals with other countries, and in some cases you're getting worse deals than what you had before with countries like Japan. So this is, I think this is the impact assessment that the government released about the trade deal with Japan. So you got like a scoping assessment and all this stuff. They even used the word impact assessment here for a full impact assessment covering the environmental and social issues to be carried out prior to and during the lifespan of the future agreement. Next steps. Following the conclusion of negotiations, and once the text of a UK-Japan agreement is known, because they don't actually know the full details because Liz Truss didn't actually publish it, they'll do full impact assessments. The final impact assessment will update and refine the preliminary estimates of the scale, blah blah blah. And so what you can see, once this deal with Japan is done, they'll have a full impact assessment out. They've done strategic cases and all this stuff. They've done the research into it. So why, I ask you, why, when we know the full details of the UK-EU trade deal, why won't the UK do the same for the EU deal that they signed in December? And the answer is they want to avoid scrutiny. It's that simple. It doesn't take an absolute genius to figure that out. It's very obvious. So what more can I say apart from like, comment, share, subscribe. We're on Discord if you want to discuss this story or other stories. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.